And hello, friends. Welcome to yet another episode of A Fair Criticism. I've spent a fair amount of time today attempting to stream directly to YouTube, and for reasons that are not quite clear to me yet, it didn't go that well. Boy. So I'm still receiving the message concerning the things I need to do to improve my overall experience. I use a streaming software called OBS, which is Open Broadcasting System or Streaming. And I'm just having a difficult time with it today. So I'm going to abandon it, and I'm going to stick with what I know. For the time being, I'm going to record directly to the laptop. Now, my friends, I want to talk about the thing that many other people have been talking about, as we are experiencing something new, as you as well are experiencing something new, as this will be the first time you have seen me in this particular get-up. And there is a reason why I'm wearing it. And the reason why I'm wearing it is I want to describe what this show is about. I want to use these garments, this headdress, this look to convey a message to you. I want you to look around and observe some of what I have in the universe near me. I have props. I have many props right now. These props allow me a certain pleasure. These props allow me to tell a story, a narrative, but to also produce an environment, a set of conditions for myself and for you, the viewer. Before I jump in too deep, I want to encourage you to hit the subscribe button below. If you haven't done so already, I want you to look out for any new releases. Get yourself on a list. There's going to be a lot of competition in this space, as over the next few months. Well, I should say, first of all, the first 2 weeks, the first 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, there's going to be a lot of competition in this space. So this could be one of the reasons why I decided to have this as part of my narrative. Now, I describe them as props because the world is filled with props. We are surrounded with props. You see that? On top of my head. That gray hair, I can cut it off or I can keep it. I consider it to be a prop. No more distinguishable as a prop than the hat on my head, which I would never wear in public, at least not yet. The coat is another prop. It gives me a certain look, a certain frailty or invincibility. I get to decide, you get to decide. It's still a prop. It's an appearance. The glasses, they're really a prop. The stubble on my face, very real to me, but it is still nothing more than a prop. Perceived wisdom built in. Just a perception. Even the turtleneck, even the murals behind me, props. The world is filled with props, which in essence makes the world a prop. So the last few weeks here in the Western Hemisphere, we have dealt with an issue known as the coronavirus, or as I prefer to call it because it sounds a bit more educated and a bit more adult, Covid-19. And this is a virus which has proved to be problematic on so many different levels. And some people, knowingly or unwittingly, have turned COVID-19 into a prop. I don't blame them. I can't fault them. The opportunity exists, and we had to do something. So before us lies a very tricky question of what do we do with the prop once the prop is gone? Once the prop has no more usefulness, when the prop has expired, its virility, its virality is no longer something so noticeable. Now, I will say that something did need to be done, because indeed there were people who are at great risk, and in certain parts of the world, for whatever reasons, and many reasons are unknown to us, they've had much higher levels of mortality for those who contracted this particular strain of coronavirus. So, but what do we do after? We are witnessing something foreign to us, new to us. We're always aware that it was a possibility. Every conspiracy theorist could only dream about what has unfolded, but now it has become a reality. Here's something. So I wake at some early hours in the morning. What led me to believe that this could never happen? Why did I hold the opinion that I could get through my lifetime without seeing something, experiencing something like this, that these things, this hysteria, the hysterical nature of men and women in history that we would mostly observe, read about, know about by books and other propaganda. Why did I think that I could escape it? Most of these things, 99% of what I want to speak of, is stuff that I have internalized and have made personal to me. Yeah. So that is my question. What made me think that we would not have an event that would leave the entire world talking? There is nothing that we can discuss today without injecting, introducing, invoking this pandemic. There's not a single conversation I have had in the last 3 weeks which somewhere, whether it bracketed it, bookended it, was stuck in the middle, touched upon coronavirus. And that's within a sphere of age groups. As I speak to friends with children, friends with nephews and nieces, with what made me think that this would never happen, that I would consign all that I have ever held in my mind about the powers that be and the behaviors that be, that I could only ever truly witness seismic human activity through a historical lens. And I actually believe that. And it took me about 2 or 3 days to come to terms with that thinking, that I get to witness something. And somehow I can also be a catalyst. And maybe this is part of what this permits as well. The YouTube, there are so many content creators that I watch, and they have been producing stuff on the coronavirus. As I was stating, about every conversation, if I talk about football, if I talk about basketball, if I talk about Formula One, if I talk about restaurants, food, art, politics, if I talk about technology, it's COVID-19, COVID-19, COVID-19. Either the beginning, in the middle, or at the end. Somewhere there's COVID-19. I cannot have a 10-minute discussion with someone that excludes COVID-19. And that's with any demographic. So in my life and in my line of work, I deal with people who, of all age groups, of all states of being, from professionals to people who live on the streets, paupers. There's a wide spectrum, and we're all talking about the same thing. And that, my friends, is worrying, because what do we do when it comes to an end? We have these newly minted powers, I would say, that governments are exercising. And certainly here in the West, here I'm based in the United Kingdom, in Greater London, to be vaguely specific. And the Prime Minister has not quite declared a state of emergency, but he has made an edict, whereas you will be bothered by the police if you cannot prove the reasons for your... No, that's not quite right. You will be potentially bothered by the police if they believe you should not be out and about. And there was a low-level threat made on people and their behavior, and I find it interesting, because when I moved about today, because again the nature of my work, my interaction with people, requires me to exercise certain responsibilities. And on my journeys about today, I saw odd events. For instance, to the bank, one of the banks that sit in the corner of a street in my neck of the woods, the bank was technically open, but the doors were shut, and the staff were behind the doors, and from what I could tell, they were letting in 1 or 2 people at a time. There was an ATM machine in use on one corner of the building, one side of the building, and then around the other corner, there were 2 ATMs that had less than, I would say less than 2 feet space in between, which means that the 2 individuals who were using it were in a proximity that the government would consider to be illegal. But what are we to do? I mean, what are we to do? Are we to accept that we have lost a level of freedom, a level of independence, a level of decision making. Because what happens if the virus hangs around for a while? What happens if, because the virus hangs around, well, then the laws hang around for a while? What do we do? What are we supposed to do? Anyways, food for thought. I honestly don't have answers to this. I am a participant and an observer. I am both a catalyst and I'm also in the tube. I'm in the test tube. So it's quite interesting. It has really allowed me to see humanity in a different way, and that turns me on in more ways than one. I have a very keen interest in seeing how this plays out. I want to know how do we respond? What is the best way to respond? I mean, culturally speaking, I am an outsider here, and I have certain political opinions that I have held on for quite some time, since I was a much younger man, and these are surely being tested. Well, as I spent a lot of time today trying to figure out this streaming stuff, and it might be that my computer just wasn't up to snuff, but that is probably not likely. It might also be my internet connection. I don't know yet, but what I do know is that I'm keen, I'm interested, I'm witnessing history. I'm getting to see something in a way that very few people throughout the history of this world has seen. And here's a important thing as well. I don't know how this ends. Anyway, this has been another episode of Fair Criticism. I would ask you once again to subscribe by hitting the subscribe button below. If you want to like the video, give me a thumbs up. If you think I've talked absolute rubbish or was just rambling, well, go ahead, give me the thumbs down. This particular episode has been brought to you by Zerny.com. If you need customers, and I would say in this day and time, at this particular piece of this little piece of the year that we're currently in, just before tax time, well, go check out Zerny.com. Zerny.com. When you need customers, check them out. Visit that website today. Anyway, my good friends, once again, I thank you for listening. I thank you for participating. I want you to stay safe. Keep your loved ones near. Just you keep watching too. Keep watching. Don't get yourselves too caught up. Don't get yourselves in too much trouble. Stay safe. Be good. Be kind. And that's it for me.